What's going on, everyone? We're officially live. Welcome to my earnings stream. I do these every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And today we got Visa and StarBucks, along with a handful of other ones too. We got Mara, we got Cheesecake Factory, Teladoc Health, Electronic Arts, Caesars Entertainment, and a list of some other ones. But the ones I'm covering today is Visa and StarBucks. And of course, I'm real interested to see Mara's earnings as well. So let me just get my other screen ready. So when the data comes in, I can share that with everyone. Visa, they report at 4:05 p.m. Eastern. It's about 4 more minutes for that. And their forecast EPS, $2.86. Forecast revenue, $9.87 billion is the forecast. So forecasted to make like $10 billion in revenue for Q2. We'll see what their reaction is when the data comes out. And here's a little chart right here. They're trading just around their anchored VWAP. So we'll see if they end up breaking up or breaking down. StarBucks reports at 4:05 p.m. Eastern as well. So we'll get both of these at the same time. And the forecast EPS 65 cents, forecast revenue $9.29 billion. So almost $10 billion forecast revenue for them too. So big companies reporting. Then of course we got Mara. Their forecast to make $228.8 million in revenue. And if I got enough time at the end, I want to go over this hedge trade I put in today that I shared with the Discord. Just kind of feel like the market's been a little overextended lately, and obviously had a pretty good red day today. If you go to the daily chart on SPY, Eddie Matrix on YouTube, I'm ready. I'm ready too, brother. Let's go back to Visa intraday. We'll go 1 minute chart on here. Also StarBucks. A few coffee drinkers out there. Okay, got just about another 2 minutes. We'll see what's going on here. Aries on YouTube, praying for your StarBucks. I mean, of course, it's a good company. They're sound, financially sound, fundamentally. I mean, let me pull them up over here too. Just wanted to go over there. We got a few minutes to burn, so let's kind of see what shape they were in going into the earnings. So here's StarBucks. They were down about 0.76% today, as was a lot of stocks because the indexes were down. Sitting here in after hours at a little over 93 a share. Going into the earnings, StarBucks, that PE ratio, trailing 12 months of 33, EPS 2.75. They even pay a little dividend, 2.6%. They got a free float of 1.13 billion. 4:03 p.m. We just got about a minute and a half left. Visa already getting some volatility. Look at that. But StarBucks, obviously a profitable company. Now their year-over-year numbers aren't too good, are they? You can easily see that on the income statement on the quarterly view. For the past 4 earnings in a row, their positive net income's been kind of falling off a cliff. I mean, from when they reported data for Q3 last year, I mean, they made over $1 billion in positive net income. And fast forward down to 0.38 of $1 billion. Year-over-year numbers pretty red. So annual basis, a little bit better. Again, I was just looking at the past 5 quarters. That doesn't really look too good on a shorter term looking view. But on the annual view, obviously very much still, it looks a little more stabler on the annual view. So we'll see what SBUX earnings data comes in. And yes, we do have Mara. Let me see if I can do 3. Can I do a 3 chart view? Let me just check real quick. Yeah, it should be right here on the grid. And okay, let me just stop messing around with the chart because we're getting a reaction on StarBucks. So far, it is a negative reaction. Let me see. The data must be out. It is officially 4:05 p.m. Eastern, so we're starting to get the reactions right now. And let me check for Starbucks first, and then Visa hasn't really made a move yet. So let's give that a few minutes to kind of marinate. And I suppose I can go 4-chart view. It's fine. And I'll put Mira down here because I know that I'm definitely interested in seeing Mira's reaction. I'm going to take the MACDs up here to give me more space. There we go. And put SPY over here on the bottom left. That's fine. All right, so Mira, for anyone joining the stream for Mira, they had an initial positive reaction. They wicked up to 17.22. Look at SBUX, fully, there's some dip buyers there. So as the earnings data is kind of getting digested more and more, it wicked down to 87, 87.53, shot right back up. Now it's kind of getting a little volatile here. So let's see if it ends up catching a bid. It's looking like there's some buying pressure. Oh yeah, a huge buy side imbalance on the order book, kind of flickering a little bit, but nonetheless, buyers got control. Let's see if it can hold up. So that initial negative reaction was something there, but again, it kind of came right back up to baseline, and now it's just kind of hanging out right there. So things are still getting digested with the data. Let me go over to I'm sorry, Discord, make sure I didn't miss anything. All right, good to go there. And okay, so Starbucks, the earnings is out. They beat revenue. They did miss EPS though, so kind of mixed for Starbucks. And let's see here. I got a few sources. I usually will go to someone asked on YouTube what website am I monitoring for earnings. I like to get it from the horse's mouth. So a lot of times I'll go straight from their investor relations page and get the data there. And there's a few market data sources I follow on Twitter that are pretty spot on, like the earnings correspondent and stuff like that. Earnings correspondent's a good one. That's a good one to follow. They're usually spot on. So again, Starbucks, they missed EPS. The forecast was 0.65 for the EPS, and they only reported 0.50. Maybe that had something to do with the initial negative reaction they had, but they did beat revenue. And for a company like Starbucks, I think revenue is probably a little bit more of a bigger deal. And the forecast was 9.3 billion, and they just reported 9.5 billion. All right, so Starbucks still a little volatile. Got a big wick on the bottom, smaller wick on the top. Holding up above $92 right now. Just a 5-minute chart. I suppose I can go 1 minute. Visa. Let's talk about Visa for a second. They had an initial positive reaction. They closed the regular session at $352.26 a share. They did just have a positive reaction to 357.98, but now that was fully retraced, and now it's the sellers have control of that one now. Mira holding up. So far, Mira's the only one really with a positive reaction. Starbucks trading just at $93. It's kind of right where it closed at, so we'll keep our eye on that. I got the Starbucks EPS and revenue on the bottom of my screen for those that are just joining. I'm actually going to put this this data from Unusual Whales actually a little bit better here, a little more accurate, I would say. Let me just delete a few things here before I post it. This might look a little more formatted. There we go. It's a little easier to read. So let's just talk about some of the earnings preview for Starbucks. Well, we kind of went over a little bit of that before, but the new CEO, Brian Nickel, is driving the Back to Starbucks plan. That's like their strategy, a marketing strategy, right? Aiming to restore the company's community coffeehouse image. Initiatives include labor investments, barista training, tech upgrades, and a 30% menu reduction. All right. Again, they haven't caught a bid or anything. They're just kind of sitting here where they closed at. So Investors aren't really impressed yet. We'll see. The price is still kind of marinating. We'll give it a little bit of time as the earnings data literally just came out. Let me look into Visa real quick, because they had an initial positive reaction and then sold off. So something's up with that. Let's take a look. All right. Visa, where you at here? Now the implied move for Visa was almost $10 a share, like $9.50. Yeah, Eddie, spreads. Yeah, with VIX being so low, I mean VIX. I mean it was up a little bit today, back to almost 16, but VIX was at like 14, 15 recently, and the premiums on the contracts, on the options chain, haven't been too great. Spreads are kind of wacky sometimes, but yeah, definitely agree with that. And let me refresh my other screen and get this EPS and revenue. It's almost 415. Starbucks getting some buyers. Starbucks finally turning positive, up over 2% now. Got a buy side imbalance on the level 2. It's looking good for continuation. It just hit an after hours high of $95.45. So that's over, it's almost $2.50 from when they closed the regular session. Here's the data from for Visa from the earnings correspondent here. There's some buyers still on Mira too. Mira went up to 17, basically almost retraced 100%, but buyers are back in the picture on Mira as well. But let's just go over this Visa graphic real quick. So anyways, beginning of the stream, we said the forecast EPS was 2.85. They just reported $2.98 earnings per share. So they beat that. And the expected revenue was $9.85 billion, and they